What's up, guys? Happy Monday. So today the plan was just to do some moderate throwing. Ended up going pretty moderate, but I kind of ramped it up on a couple at the very end. Friday I had absolutely zero energy, kind of like I mentioned in the last kind of episode. It was one of those things today where I was really kind of just focusing on my lower half, really holding the ground, kind of what I've been trying to focus on. Warm-ups went really well. I still didn't feel as crisp as I normally do, but honestly I'm not too worried about it. I ended up getting, I think it was like 86 with the 6 ounce, and then I ended up getting 90.4 with the baseball on the mound. So I'm trying to transition into more mound work. You know, I love flat ground because I throw harder on flat ground, but definitely like the goal is to throw 95 off the mound. So I definitely need to start kind of incorporating more mound work throughout the week. My plan is to do about 3 days on the mound a week. That way I can just get a feel for the slope and kind of, you know, feeling that slope, not trying to rotate too early. And just really feel out my lower half on the slope. It just feels really foreign, honestly. So it's just one of those things that I need to be better at. So like I said, the plan is maybe Wednesday. Tomorrow I'm going to take the day off of throwing just because today was a little bit higher intent. Wednesday, the plan is to go on the mound, but a little bit lighter. And then hopefully we'll see if Friday or Saturday, if I'm feeling pretty good, if I want to ramp it up again. So I'll see y'all there. All right, guys, let's talk about Monday's throwing session, a little bit about what I did. So in this session, I was just trying to work on the kind of the same pattern of just letting my arm be more level into release, not just trying to let it just climb up and kind of driving intent. It was a moderate session that ended up turning a little bit into more of a higher intent throwing session towards the end, but overall I felt really good. So arm bounced back really fine. So did some lateral roll-ins mixed in, as well as just some overall the lassos and the figure eights. Those have been kind of my main drills that I've been going to. Ended up doing some walking windups on flat ground. Shout out to performance coach Ryan Kirk. But yeah, did some walking windups to kind of just feel the momentum. I'm still kind of working on the walking windup drill. It feels really solid when I do them. So it's just basically been a staple in my throwing program as of late, just to kind of feel not just flat-footed when I'm in the stretch. Here's some mound work. I ended up getting some 7 ounces, 6 ounces, and then I did the 5 ounce at the very end here. Once I started kind of getting a feel for the slope, as you can see here, I'm really focusing on letting that kind of staying in my lower half a little bit longer, keeping that glove side closed. But did some throws with the 5 ounce. I ended up getting to, I believe it was 90.4. Felt really good overall, like I mentioned in the very beginning, but ended up getting to 90.4. Here's a little bit of a slow-mo. You can kind of see, trying to stay in that lower half longer, holding tension in that glove side. You can still see, though, the arm is climbing a good amount. But overall, it was a really solid day. What's up, guys? So it's Tuesday. So yesterday I thought I wasn't going to throw any today, but I actually feel pretty all right. The arm feels good. So today I'm just going to be doing a little bit of patterning work out of some abbreviated arm action stuff, lassos, and just some infield throws and some lateral roll-ins. Today I'm just going to be focusing on keeping my arm more level with my shoulder plane. I'm going to work through some, like I said, some 7 ounce and some baseball throws. Really just emphasizing not letting that arm climb as much and keeping that torso more stacked. All right, got a pretty solid feel. Now we're gonna do a couple full delivery throws just to end the session. Always end on full delivery just to get a feel for your actual throw. The goal here is to stay below 75 miles an hour. All right, let's go over a little bit of what my total body lift number 2 of the week was. Last episode, you guys saw my first, shout out to Perbs. Last week, you guys saw my first lift. So a little bit about this lift. It's a mixture, a full body mixture as well, but kind of primarily focusing more on the upper body in a lot of these. Here is an ISO that I've been doing to kind of work on hip extension that Coach Emilio Martinez has given me. These were actually brutal, kind of filling them through my hamstrings. Here's Ben showing off his absolute goated adductors. It's pretty crazy how he's able to do that. But this is a dumbbell bench PR of 80s. I've gotten 80s before on flat bench back when I was 245 pounds, but right now I'm weighing in about 213. So this was a PR. I have not done 80s in about 4 or 5 years. So I was really solid, really happy to kind of see that I was able to get this. That last rep was a little bit of a struggle, but the mixture of these lifts are a bunch of overhead med ball throws. I ended up PRing on these overhead med ball with the 4 pounds at 30.4 a couple times. Last week, I only ended up getting around 29.1 or so. So definitely good to see that these numbers are going up. After the strength set, we ended up doing more of a hypertrophy set where I'm doing a set of 8. I believe these are with 60s. So it's just kind of a couple, 3 sets strength and then finish off with a little bit of volume. These are some rows that I was doing, some Meadows rows. This movement is honestly a new movement. I'm not used to it, so it's something that I definitely need to kind of clean up. I do think I was doing this a little bit wrong, so I need to kind of clean that movement up. Have some push-up ISOs weighted. I really like these. I kind of like my pecs are just lit up after this. But it's something that I've been holding longer each week. I can definitely feel myself progressing on this lift. It's one of my favorite lifts right now, actually. I do like doing some ISO push-ups, feels really good. Afterwards, did some eccentric lateral raises. So I'm trying to do a slow eccentric on the way down at the very end. Just focusing on keeping that movement slow, controlled, feeling the eccentric on the way down. Those felt really good, just for some general arm care stuff. And then I finished up the session with some pronation and supination with the tomahawk, basically just focusing on slowing the eccentric as well from both sides, feeling both range through pronation and supination. But that is my second total body lift of the week. What's up, guys? It's Arrow. So it is Thursday. The plan for today's training is to do some moderate throwing, get on the slope a little bit. Like I said last week, I'm trying to get on the slope at least 3 times a week right now. Beforehand, it would seem like I'd get on the slope once every 2 weeks, and I would have really good testing sessions on flat ground, but as soon as I got on the slope, it felt foreign, and my timing was all messed up. So I think it's really important to start implementing some more mound work, at least 2 to 3 times a week. That way I can get a feel for the slope. The reason why I feel like I've been throwing harder on flat ground is because that kind of that surface that flat ground provides, without that slope, I'm a guy who tends to get a little bit too much downhill where everything has to pull off like this, elbow climbs, and everything kind of pushes forward. So when I'm on flat ground, not having that slope kind of helps me stay more level in the landing, and everything can kind of spiral out that way. When I get on the slope, it kind of just promotes that feeling of me kind of going downhill. So that's why I've been kind of avoiding it. But the reality is, if I'm ever going to make solid changes, I'm going to have to be on the slope to kind of get a feel for staying more back, more stacked in the landing, to let everything kind of come through. So that's going to be the main focus for today, is just keeping the torso more stacked while I'm going down the mound, trying to keep this here to be able to spiral out instead of going here. So that's the plan for today. All right, guys, I just got done throwing and I had an absolutely electric session. The arm feels really good. Just working on the same kind of drills, keeping the abbreviated at the very beginning, just to feel from the arm in its back position to accelerate into release, and then added in some figure eights to feel the arm kind of blend and flip up on time. At the end of the session, it felt really good. I actually started ramping up a little bit more than what I would have liked for a kind of a moderate day, so I kind of cut the session off a little bit. But the plan is to do a recovery throwing day tomorrow, play some catch, play some half plyos, and then from there, hopefully Saturday, feel really good, ramp it up a little bit. I'm gonna start out kind of what we like to call it, take the arm for a little walk, and then if it feels really good, then go for a little jog. But for me, just making sure I'm not ramping up that intensity too much. I'm a guy who tends to probably ramp up more than I should, which is not a really good thing, especially for me having 2 flexor strains in the past. But the arm's feeling really good right now, so making sure I'm moderating that, not going too crazy in intensity. And if I do start to go too crazy in intensity, just cut the session and feel really good. So catch play tomorrow, and I'm going to take you guys through some of my recovery stuff that I do post throwing. It's not a lot. For my take on recovery is that if you're having to rely on just post throwing recovery stuff, you're probably doing recovery wrong. You want to be able to get some good sleep, hydrate, and of course eat good. So that's also some stuff that I'm really prioritizing right now. So take it through some of my recovery stuff, and then yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, guys, and that is a wrap for this week's training sessions. Overall, it was a really solid week. Ended up getting a PR on Saturday of 94.1 and also got up to 91.1 with the 6-ounce ball, so it was a really solid day overall. What's crazy is I actually didn't feel that good going into the session, but as time went on and I kind of went through all my drills, it started to feel really good. And then at the end, some magic happened and ended up PRing a good amount. The plan for next week, since I just PR'd by about 2.5 miles per hour, is a pretty big jump for me. I am feeling pretty sore, especially in the lat region, as well as a little bit through the forearm region, but overall it's like just general soreness, nothing too crazy to be concerned about. The plan is just to take a slight little step back next week and kind of work up to about 80%, just work on patterning stuff, focusing on kind of that same thing we've been working on, keeping the torso more stacked, as well as letting the arm kind of be more level instead of kind of tilting downhill and climbing. So the big focus for next week is to kind of just be patterning that, try and get 3 mount sessions again. And then we'll kind of go from there. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys have any questions, please drop those in the comments below. I'll be answering those throughout the week. Really looking forward to next week, and I'm hoping to see y'all there.